On the feast of the Dormition of the Mother of God, we remind ourselves about our faith in her and her role in our salvation. Unlike Roman Catholic theology, which has created many doctrines, many rational doctrines about her, Orthodoxy is more content to accept her as a mystery. Her role is something of a mystery. But we do express what we believe about her in our hymns, in our liturgies, through our worship. We use many images, many symbols to represent the Mother of God, to remind ourselves of what we believe. We use the image of a doorway. The Mother of God is a doorway between the heavenly and earthly realm through which Christ passed. She's symbolized as a ladder, the ladder on which Christ descended from heaven and on which we can ascend into heaven through the gift of her Son to us. She's represented as the second Eve. The first Eve was disobedient, and through her, sin, corruption, death entered the world. But through the second Eve, through her obedience, Christ enters the world, and through his incarnation, we have our redemption, our salvation. She's represented as the temple that contains God. In the New Testament it says, the power of God overshadowed her. A very specific word is used here. Overshadowed reminds us of the overshadowing of the presence of God of the tabernacle built by Moses in the book of Exodus as the Hebrews passed through the wilderness. The presence of God, a sign that he was there amongst his people. This is the tabernacle, the temple in which God dwells, in her womb. We believe on this feast and remind ourselves that though she tasted death, she was not left to decay. Her body was taken into heaven. The flesh that was sanctified by the presence of God could not be allowed to corrupt. And so she is the only person other than Christ whose soul is united to her glorified body in heaven. And now she stands at the right-hand side of Christ. She is sanctified. Yes, she is a model, and all monastics take her as a pattern, a model of obedience and asceticism, but she is more than this. She reminds us that it is through Christ's presence that she was sanctified. This astonishing miracle of the incarnation. And we encounter another miracle Sunday by Sunday. We too receive the body and blood of Christ. He enters into us physically. We too are sanctified by his presence. Body and soul, transformed, transfigured by the presence of Christ. And so, just as we receive Christ, let us also be obedient, just as the Mother of God was obedient. Let us put our trust, our faith in God. And so let us share in his joy and in his salvation.